Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Ultra Confusion playthrough. This time we are continuing on to Chapter 2 of the Supreme League of Patriots. Let us begin.
What do you mean he's got dissociative identity disorder?
I've been explaining it for the past 15 minutes. If you weren't following me, why didn't you say something before?
Oh no, I'm following fine. It just seemed like a convenient time to summarise everything in a few short sentences. Know what I mean?
Well, Kyle is suffering from a rare psychological disorder, characterized by the presence of two distinct personalities. Kyle's own personality has been subjugated by his Purple Patriot alter ego. The Kyle persona is still present, and at moments of extreme relaxation he does revert to it. However, the Purple Patriot persona remains dominant, and returns whenever he gets excited, scared, or anxious.
So he's 2 drachmas short of €1 then?
He's actually very lucid, and when the Kyle persona takes control, he has all of the personality traits and all of the memories of Kyle. It will be exactly like talking to your friend. When the Purple Patriot persona is dominant, he believes that Kyle does not exist, and is merely a secret identity he has created in order to prevent his superhero identity being discovered.
Have you tried pointing out that anyone who was inventing a secret identity would come up with an alter ego with a job and fashion sense?
Unfortunately, DID patients are typically immune to reason.
A bit like Tea Party supporters. Got it. Nurse Julie did come all the way across town to update me on Kyle's condition. It'd be a bit rude to start farting about with the furniture while she's waiting. Plus, I've got a nasty feeling she's charging me by the minute. So what kind of treatment regime is available for Kyle?
Unfortunately, there's very little consensus on treatment for DID. There are a range of different psychotherapy options available, but recovery can be a long and complicated process.
We're missing a trick here, aren't we?
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
I'm not a medical man, but I've watched enough TV to know that all we have to do is just hit him on the head again and his memory will come back. What?
Kyle's psychological breakdown wasn't actually caused by the repeated head injuries.
It must have been. I saw this trope coming a mile away.
Kyle's skull is incredibly thick and amazingly resilient. Despite all of the head impacts, his brain didn't receive any physical trauma whatsoever.
Well, what happened to him then?
Well, we think it might have been all the painkillers I gave him every time he banged his head. Turns out they had some side effects we didn't know about.
Well, that's charming, innit? Not content with trying to have him bumped off every time he bumped his head, now you've given him multiple personalities. Anything else you'd like to do to him while you've got him in the hospital? Perhaps a quick sex change operation. Although come to think of it, if he had breasts he'd never leave the apartment.
Naturally, the studio are extremely distressed at the undesirable and completely unpredictable consequences of taking those painkillers.
The studio? What's the studio got to do with any of this?
I'm contracted by the studio. As such, they are offering a substantial amount of compensation to help Kyle's rehabilitation and recovery.
How substantial?
$10 million.
Oh, well that's not too... How much?
Of course, he would have to sign a waiver indicating that he doesn't hold the studio responsible for any lapses in our usual standards of medical care he may have experienced during his visit.
Yeah, well, that's no problem. We all make mistakes, don't we? Where do I have to sign?
The production company has offices in Chelsea. They'll take care of all the paperwork for you.
How's Kyle doing?
Physically, he's very well. In fact, he's kind of a lot better than normal.
Not sure I follow, love.
Well, his psychological condition appears to have manifested itself through some kind of faith-based physical augmentation.
I like to think I'm an intelligent chap, but you might have to dumb that down a little bit. Imagine you're talking to Kyle. Well, not quite that dumb, somewhere in between.
When his Purple Patriot persona is ascendant, he believes he has superpowers. He believes that he has super strength, that he can fly, and that he has an uncanny ability to look good in spandex.
Yeah, so we have to be careful he doesn't do anything stupid like try to stop a speeding juggernaut or jump off a high building.
Well, actually, no. He really is exhibiting those powers.
Did you just tell me that Kyle can fly? Have you been sucking on a broken biro?
It's quite unusual, I'll admit. But it seems that his sense of self-belief is so strong that his body's actually responding.
So technically, Kyle is now a superhero.
I suppose technically that's true, but...
So in that case, your grounds for holding him have gone. You can't claim he's delusional if he really has the powers he thinks he has.
We're working on the assumption that his superpowers are just the physical manifestation of his psychological condition.
So basically, you're manipulating the diagnosis to keep hold of him as long as possible.
What a strange thing to suggest.
Is he still raving that immigrants, homosexuals and women are destroying America?
We've managed to calm him down a little.
You mean you've pumped him full of horse tranquilizers, don't you?
Of course not. That would be unethical. And horse tranquilizers are not even authorized for use on humans. How dare you?
Alright, sorry.
Although, when you visit him, you may want to take along a pocket full of sugar cubes. He loves them.
So, has the calming stopped him from raving like a madman?
Not entirely. He still insists on calling me either Toots or Dollface. And I won't even begin to tell you what he calls Dr. Sangupta.
I do apologise for him. He's not normally like that at all. He's a very tolerant person when he's Kyle, even if only because he's too lazy to be intolerant.
It may be a side effect of the psychosis. He believes the Purple Patriot feels a huge sense of patriotism. That patriotism may be driving him to have these negative emotions.
Can I visit him? They let me stay with him for a couple of hours when we was taken to the hospital, but after that they gave me the bum's rush.
I'm sorry, we don't permit visitors during the initial evaluation phase. It interferes with the patient's recovery.
How long does the evaluation phase last?
Depends how much insurance he's got.
Unless it was ever given away as part of the Happy Meal, I'd wager he has none whatsoever.
In this case, the studio is picking up the bill. They have a lot of insurance.
You're really milking this for all it's worth, aren't you?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, I'm sure you have lots to do. Patients won't just kill themselves.
I should get back to the hospital. We've scheduled Kyle for a series of x-rays this afternoon.
And these x-rays might give some indication of the nature of his condition, might they?
I guess they might. We just got a new x-ray machine. It's a shame not to use it, especially when the studio's picking up the tab.
It's no wonder everyone's going to Cuba to get medical treatment these days. There's less corruption over there. Normally I'd be all over it, but there's something thumping on the window. Since we're on the 3rd floor of a tenement building, I'm going to assume it's urgent. I suppose there's no alternative. What the hell are you doing out there?
If I break the window, old chum, I fear we would lose our security deposit.
Okay.
How exactly are we going to do this?
Very carefully, if I get any say in the matter.
Alright, well hold on tight because it rotates.
I know that. Get on with it already.
Alright, now I think I take your...
I thought you were
again.
still in the hospital.
I sneaked out while Nurse Julie was doing her rounds.
Didn't anyone notice the empty bed?
I left a neat little pile under the sheets.
Good idea. You might not have time to go later.
It says here that former Arsenal footballer Thierry Henry is recovering in hospital after being hit by a Renault Clio while crossing the road.
I wonder what the French for "ah" is. Yeah, that's not actually a mobile, mate.
It doesn't have a cord.
It's a cordless phone.
So it is a mobile phone!
Sure, mate. It's a mobile phone that stops working as soon as you get out of the apartment.
Aha! So, better reception than I get with Swift?
You can use my mobile if you like. I'll add it to the inventory.
Do you really think now is a good time to play Corridor Shooter 2000?
Yes?
Not a chance. I'd never recapture all of them if they got out.
Oh, what?
It came with the apartment. I don't want to upset the super by moving it around.
If he didn't kick us out when you installed a skylight in your bedroom, I don't think he's going to start now.
I still don't see why he was so upset about the skylight. I paid for it myself, and I had the job done by a professional tradesman.
You do know why he was upset. The woman upstairs kept falling through the 6-foot hole in her bathroom floor.
It's stuck again.
I've never known anyone with more of a knack for getting locks jammed than you.
At least this time, I'm on the outside of it.
Too bloody right. That night I spent feeding you chili con carne through the closet keyhole has to go down as one of the messiest nights of my life.
In hindsight, it probably wasn't the wisest meal to eat when you have a locked door between you and the bathroom.
Don't open it! The world is not ready for the contents of your underwear drawer. I was honestly expecting to see spirits escape him.
I suppose this camera's worth taking.
I've played this game before. There's no batteries in it.
No, actually, it's fully charged.
Blimey, another cliché successfully avoided.
I can't get changed without transforming back into Kyle.
Plus, you have a dozen identical pairs of track pants. There's no point in changing.
I don't really want to take the flag with me. Besides, it appears to be stuck in one corner.
What do you mean, stuck?
I don't know. Hey, what do you know? I taped my passport to the back of the flag with gaffer tape.
I cannot believe how literal you've become since you changed. I'm never going to ask you for a knob of butter as long as I live.
Purchase those books.
I found these while rummaging through some of the dusty boxes in the back room at Crazy Cole's comic book store. It's about an 18th century aristocrat who moonlights as an avenging superhero, stalking the mean streets of Swindon.
You paid $10 an issue for these?
Actually, no. By an extraordinary stroke of luck, they were accidentally misfiled in the Any 50 Issues for 10 cents box. Let's roll, trusted associate!
Just this one time, can we be remotely organised? Let's think through this whole superhero caper and make a list of everything we need to get you up and running.
I suppose that is good advice. I'll start organizing my thoughts into some kind of order.
Great. Try to keep all the ones involving voices urging you to kill on one side.
Let's roll.
Just this one. Great.
It's my driver's license.
When did you start carrying that around with you? You hardly ever drive.
Do you have any idea how humiliating it is to be a superhero and get turned away buying lottery tickets? My passport is a bold reminder of my American heritage.
Khan?
What, old friend?
Khan. It says mother's maiden name, Khan. Was your mother from Bangladesh?
It's a misprint. You know how unreliable stenographers can be. It's meant to be Cohen. She was Jewish.
First name, Rupa. That's not a very Jewish name.
Ruth! It's meant to be Ruth! It's a...
Misprint, right.
We should really start planning our next move, Melvin.
That's easy. Go to the studio, collect your check, and start living on Easy Street.
My check? What check?
Didn't Nurse Julie tell you? The studio are offering you $10 million in compensation for your accidents. We can buy a nice penthouse apartment in Columbus Circle and spend all day watching Mexican soap operas and eating pretzels in our underpants.
Isn't that pretty much what we do now?
Yeah, but now we'll be able to afford Auntie Anne's pretzels.
Sorry, old friend, but I can't retire while crime stalks the streets of New York.
We'll still have plenty of money. We can donate to worthy charities like domestic abuse, animal welfare, and the campaign to create a new ending for Mass Effect 3. We'll still have our principles, we just won't have to get off our asses to do anything about them.
I'm sorry, Melvin. My mind is made up. We're going to use that money to fight crime.
Couldn't we use it to fight something less prevalent, like common sense?
I need help, old chum.
You know I'm not a qualified psychotherapist, right? Alright, what do you need?
I don't think I need any further...
I'm glad to hear it. Helping you can be very tiring.
That's all for now, old chum. Let's roll, trusted associate.
Just this...
Come on.
You know, these huddles would be a lot more fun if our group had some female members.
As would the weekly saunas, old friend. But we have to make do with what we have. We should really start planning our next move, Melvin. I'm going to need money to establish us as a genuine team of superheroes.
Don't look at me, I'm Brassic.
Then you should get a job and earn your way in society. That's the American way.
Illegal immigrant, remember?
Ah, yes. Normally I'd be vehemently opposed to such a thing.
Well, you are a Republican.
but I'll make an exception for you, since you're my friend, and you paid my share of the rent this month.
Well, you are a Republican.
We need some kind of motto or slogan. This is America! You're nothing if you don't have a catchy slogan.
If you say by the power of Grayskull one more time, I'm gonna twat you with something.
No, I'm past that. Wait. Thunder! Thunder!
No! Do you have a deep-seated compulsion to make intellectual property lawyers rich or something?
I'm going to need a license.
Why? Are you going breakdancing in Central Park again?
No, I'm serious. To be a superhero in New York, you have to have a license.
Really? Well, those are probably issued by NYPD. Ask Sam if she can help you.
Lieutenant Griffith from work? I'd have to make sure she didn't recognize me in my costume.
Your own grandmother wouldn't recognise you in that get-up.
My grandmother never recognizes me. She has cataracts.
That's not why she doesn't recognise you.
Let's talk about something else.
Fine by...
What's my most pressing objective just now, do you think?
Well, if you're truly dead set on setting yourself up as a superhero, we need to come up with a plan. Start by making a list of all the things we'll need to get started.
How?
We should really start planning.
Yes. Let's go with...
I need a secret identity.
You've already got a real identity. You're Kyle Keever, and you're a janitor at the 125th Precinct.
Perfect!
What? Aren't you superheroes usually journalists, scientists, or creepy billionaires in your spare time? I don't think sweeping floors and washing windows is going to be very helpful in your war on crime.
Are you kidding? Police janitor is like the perfect alter ego for a superhero. Inside information on major crimes, you can look up criminals in the FBI database, you even get advance notice if the police are closing in on your secret identity. Some of the world's greatest superheroes have been police janitors.
Who?
Name one that isn't Hong Kong Phooey.
Shut up! You know, if you're gonna be my boy wonder...
Assistant.
Right. Assistant. Still, you're going to need superpowers.
What for? I'm not doing any fighting. I'm a conscientious objector.
Oh, what?
You know, coward.
I guess we can't all be fighters. Some of us are thinkers and some of us are creators.
And some of us are bonkers.
You got that right.
I'm quite the whiz with computers and electronics, if I do say so myself. Surely that's enough to be useful.
We'll try to keep you out of harm's way, old chum. But you really ought to have a superpower in case things get rough. We could always get you superpowers by exposing you to dangerous levels of radiation.
See, the thing about that is I don't actually want to be exposed to dangerous levels of radiation.
You really should have said something before we bought that Ukrainian army's surplus space heater. What about if we just blind you with acid?
And all my other senses will develop to compensate.
That too!
Wait, why were you suggesting blinding me with acid if you hadn't thought of my other senses compensating?
I have a lot of surplus acid that's going to waste. What about bionic eyes which have machine guns in them?
You can't just make up new superpowers. Haven't you ever read a comic book? Superpowers have to have some correlation with a base power, background, or artifact. Like Green Lantern's ring?
Dude, I've never seen him with his pants down. I've run out of good ideas.
You did that several minutes ago if you ask me.
We should look into corporate sponsorship. With the right sponsors, we could get all our equipment paid for.
Screw corporate sponsorship. It's bad enough that every friggin' politician's in the pocket of an oil company, a multinational bank, or a high-class brothel without superheroes joining the gravy train.
But
Besides, who the hell's gonna sponsor you looking like that? Ribena? Welch's?
I want people to wonder about me.
In an all-purple skin-tight figure-hugging lycra leotard, people are guaranteed to be wondering about you.
No. I want to be a man of mystery. I want to be enigmatic.
I think you mean enigmatic, unless you mean you want to give people the shits, which come to think of it is a much more realistic goal for you.
Let's talk about something else.
Fine by me.
That's all for now, old chum. Let's... Ice.
Great. Try to... It's my mobile phone. It has a 20 megapixel camera, fingerprint scanner, heart rate monitor, a 3D screen, and I think it's possible to make phone calls with it. It's my...
I have a few photos already on this camera, but there's still plenty of room on the SD card for more.
Oh yes, been recording ourselves in flagrante delicto, have we?
No, the holiday snaps from Italy are on my USB stick. Let's roll.
Just this one time, can we be remotely organised? Let's think through this whole superhero caper and make a list of everything we need to get you up and running.
I suppose that is good advice.
Great, try to keep all the ones in...
Alright, we gotta be. Come on.
Huddle time. We should really start planning our next move, Melvin.
Just go all the way down.
We need some kind of motto or slogan. This is America. You're nothing if you don't have a catchy slogan.
If you say by the power of Grayskull one more time, I'm gonna twat you with something.
No, I'm past that. Wait. Thunder! Thunder!
No! Do you have a deep-seated compulsion to make intellectual property lawyers rich or something?
I need a secret identity.
You've already got a real identity. You're Kyle Keever and you're a janitor at the 125th precinct.
Perfect!
What? Aren't you superheroes usually journalists, scientists or creepy billionaires in your spare time? I don't think sweeping floors and washing windows is going to be very helpful in your war on crime.
Are you kidding? Police janitor is like the perfect alter ego for a superhero. Inside information on major crimes, you can look up criminals in the FBI database, you even get advance notice if the police are closing in on your secret identity. Some of the world's greatest superheroes have been police janitors.
Name one that isn't Hong Kong Phooey.
Shut up! I need a Patriot mobile. Some kind of immensely powerful half-tank, half-sports car with an array of high-tech weaponry.
We could stake out the parking lot at a monster trucks rally.
Really?
No, you div. That sort of vehicle is custom built.
I need a kryptonite.
I'm not surprised. You eat junk food all day long.
No, I mean a weakness. Every superhero has a weakness.
Shouldn't we keep
Common
looking for
sense.
your strengths before we start looking for weaknesses?
We need to find my weakness so we can guard against it. Superman was always running into trouble with kryptonite.
Yeah, for a substance which didn't exist on Earth, there sure was a lot of that bloody stuff going around. Every two-bit bank robber or jewellery thief seemed to stumble across a fragment of his former planet as they were eating their Wheaties.
Wait, I thought of a weakness.
Okay, what is it?
You have to go to the bathroom? Because you're in spandex.
Go ahead.
Are you going
Okay,
to the
whisper it.
bathroom or something? Huh.
What do you expect me to? Okay, here, how about this one? Let's see. Right.
That's really more of a predilection than a weakness, mate.
No, I guess there's this other thing that I got a weakness of. This. You can.
Fair enough, mate. If we run into any supervillains whose battle cry is yiff, we'll just get you into a cold shower and send for reinforcements.
You know, if you're gonna be my boy wonder...
Assistant.
Right. Assistant. Still, you're going to need superpowers.
What for? I'm not doing any fighting. I'm a conscientious objector.
Oh, what?
You know, coward.
I guess we can't all be fighters. Some of us are thinkers and some of us are creators.
And some of us are bonkers.
You got that right.
I'm quite the whiz with computers and electronics, if I do say so myself. Surely that's enough to be useful.
We'll try to keep you out of harm's way, old chum. But you really ought to have a superpower in case things get rough.
No, I've already done that one.
I've run out of...
You did that several...
Sponsor?
We should look into corporate sponsorship. With the right sponsors, we could get all our equipment paid for.
Screw corporate sponsorship. It's bad enough that every friggin' politician's in the pocket of an oil company, a multinational bank, or a high-class brothel without superheroes joining the gravy train.
But
Besides, who the hell's gonna sponsor you looking like that? Ribena? Welch's?
Crime cave.
we need to have a crime cave, a base of operations for all of our crime fighting.
We live in the middle of a metropolis. There tend not to be a lot of caves in big cities. They don't command much in the way of rent.
It doesn't have to be a cave exactly. Maybe just a big hole in the middle of nowhere.
What, like Hunt's Point, you mean?
Perhaps not. We'd get out there ready to fight crime and find the Patriot Mobile up on bricks.
Super pet.
We should have a pet with superpowers.
The super didn't like it when you had angelfish. What's he gonna say if you get a Rottweiler with laser vision?
It doesn't have to be a Rottweiler. It could be any kind of animal.
Such as?
I've got it! A panther with invisibility! That would be the ultimate weapon.
Great. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? You've got a highly strung, savage beast roaming the apartment, and you have no idea when you're about to step on the bugger's tail.
Okay, there's a few kinks in the plan we'd have to work out.
Remind me exactly how you imbue a pet with invisibility?
3 hours in a bath of chromatic oil?
Right. You need to keep an animal which has a pathological fear of water in a bath for 3 hours. And you're the guy who got severe lacerations and third-degree burns when you tried to bath your girlfriend's dachshund.
It's so obvious! We should get a mutant alligator. The sewers of New York are supposed to be full of them.
The sewers of New York are full of lots of things, but I wouldn't recommend keeping them in the bath.
No burglar would ever come into our apartment if we had a mutant alligator guarding it.
Neither would I. Although it would be interesting when that miserable old bark from downstairs came up to complain about the noise.
What about a dog with super strength? Then it needn't be an aggressive breed.
Yeah, perfect. The first time he humps my leg, I spend 3 weeks in traction.
Super smell then.
And when he sniffs my crotch, I get an instant circumcision.
Oh, right. The crotch thing. Oh, I give up.
Thank heavens for that.
Battle cry.
I really need some kind of battle cry, don't you think?
I already suggested one.
I'm a hemophiliac is not a battle cry, my friend.
Maybe not, but it's effective. It distracts them just long enough that you can kick them in the nuts.
That's not a very noble or honorable way to fight, old friend.
There's nothing honourable about getting 7 shades of crap kicked out of you. Winning is all the honour I need.
Aramis right.
I want people to wonder about me.
They already do.
In an all-purple skin-tight figure-hugging lycra leotard, people are guaranteed to be wondering about you.
No. I want to be a man of mystery. I want to be enigmatic.
I think you mean enigmatic, unless you mean you want to give people the shits, which come to think of it is a much more realistic goal for you.
Alright, well, that's it. Now, can
Let's
I finally
talk about
get out of here?
Fine by me.
That-